Hey everybody, Thesa here with my Legacy of Flight in conjunction with One Love Wellness Center here in Menasha, Wisconsin, coming to you for one of my 365 days from my heart to yours. And I'm doing If the Buddha Dated, a handbook for finding love on the spiritual path and just conscious, relationships. So today is chapter 7, and be willing to cook in the spiritual fire. Gamble everything for love. Half-heartedness does not reach into majesty. You set out to find God, but then you keep stopping for long periods at mean-spirited roadhouses. Don't wait any longer. Dive into the ocean. Leave and let the sea be you. And that's from Rumi. While most streams of Buddhism take a contemplative stance on passion, pleasure, and pain, Sufism encourages us to be open to our passions, to dive into the sea, to become at one with the beauty and power of the waves. New love is a rich time for a spiritual warrior. Not only are we challenged to face our most primitive feelings of longing, hunger, love, loss, and fear, we are challenged to welcome feelings of pure joy, ecstasy, sexual pleasure, and bliss. Many people are afraid of expansive energy watching through their body, cracking their boundaries and limitations, exposing them to the vastness of all that they are. If you allow yourself to feel this energy, you will be richly rewarded. You will find a tender spot in your heart that allows you to embrace all human experience and to love. Many people find themselves awash in tears when covering over their heart slips away. They are touched by a small gesture of kindness, inebriated by the fragrance of a lilac blossoms infusing the air on a balmy spring evening. If we can realize that everything is made of one energy, our hearts, our bodies, our minds, our thoughts, our emotions, our feelings, our hurts, our pain, it will be easier to jump into the spiritual fire. Nothing is better or worse than anything else. It is all part of this cosmic energy. And that is what is life. No matter what we have done, how much we have hurt, how ashamed we feel, it is just energy. Just stuff that separates us from our perfect essence. The false core beliefs that we have developed and maintained through our stories puts limits on the free flow of energy in our body. Be careful. Don't get too excited. Don't be too loud, so exuberant, so passionate, so wild. My colleague and friend Marley and I often joke about WASP, a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. Damage. Keep a firm upper and a tight lower. Don't slurp your soup and suck on an orange. Don't indulge yourself in more than one fudge brownie. And for God's sakes, don't ever let anyone hear you fart. How on earth do we go from this kind of conditioning to become an open-hearted lover? Physical lovemaking is messy, juicy, smelly, rowdy, funny, and there's always an extra arm. If we are open to the power and the humor of lovemaking, it expands our energy from our toes to the roots of our hair. The spiritual warrior hides from nothing. We jump into the fire. We dive into the ocean. We become the sea, and in fact, we are already part of the sea, of all creation. It's only an illusion that keeps us apart. To allow ourselves this free-flowing energy is to say, take me. I surrender. I am open to feeling everything inside. This does not mean we are without discipline or good judgment. It means we fear nothing that is human and that is natural. And along this path, as I've, been realizing and exploring relationships and in new relationships and in old relationships, trust your heart. Trust the feelings in your gut. And when things opposite of your heart come up, be that observer and ask yourself, where is that coming from? How did this become validated? How did this become maybe a pattern? And now that I'm aware of it, what can I do to make this pattern more in alignment with my heart? Because that's the space that we want to be in. That's the space that I want to be aligned to, is my heart. And to surrender to the flow of my divine existence. And for you all to surrender to the flow of your divine existence in whatever way that looks like to you. So surrender actually makes us feel safe because there is nothing left to hide. We're no longer hiding from any part of ourselves. So we can share every part of ourselves with someone else because there's nothing to hide. There's nothing wrong with anything about me. I've let go, and I'm not ashamed, and I'm not afraid. I am in love with me, and then I can be in love and see truly into the heart of another part of me, another human, and love them completely. When we are open and unafraid, we cease being half-hearted with each other. Our words and eyes freely convey, I delight in your company. I care for you. We release ourselves from the misery of holding back and playing it safe. In the process of opening ourselves, our childhood feelings may be laid before us. Suddenly, we feel like a hurt 3-year-old. We want to cling. We want to start worrying. We get scared, forget our responsibilities, and turn with anxiety. Ah, shit. But our growth begins when we realize we're facing parts of ourselves that have always, that's right, always been there. It's not the relationship. It's not the other person. Not one of us, or no one of us, made us feel that way. They simply touched a place in us that was not clear. It's not easy, we moan. Oh God, I just agreed to see a movie I hate. I just had sex when I didn't want to. I smiled when I was angry. I pressured my new love to stay with me when I knew she wanted to go home. Don't be afraid. You have thrown a log into the spiritual fire. You've hit an edge. Now sit with it. Don't run away. Don't eat a cookie. Don't turn on the TV. Don't go shopping. Don't do the things that you normally would do to get away so that you don't have to look at this. Sit down and simmer. Breathe. Be gentle. Make friends with that part of you. Try having a conversation between your scared part and your inner spiritual guide, or your Buddha nature. Go into the story, behind the story, behind the story. That's when we go into being the observer. And yes, sometimes I sit, in my room and have conversations with myself, the other parts of me. Sometimes I have team meetings. That's a whole nother story. But it's just a conversation, and you can have this out loud. You can write it down, write the question, and then write it, whatever comes to you, and without judgment. You are just observing so that you can get to this story, about the story, about the story. That is the root cause. You know, it's like those weeds. Sure, you can cut off all the top stuff. They're just going to keep coming back up until you get to the root. And you pull it out by the root, and then it's done. And it's all good. And then we just have all these other stories on top, you know, fueling the root, feeding it. And there's nothing wrong with that. All is awareness. Were we aware of that before? No. Are we aware of that now? Yes. Now we can do something about it. Now we make our choice what we want to do about it. Remember, you can't accept what you haven't experienced and faced. You can't release what you won't grasp or feel. So this was a huge one, learning for me going through on my spiritual path, is I would have these, you know, great experiences or healing sessions or, you know, team meetings, and then the next week there would be some crazy shit or these old feelings that would come up, and it would freak me out, and I would be like, what the hell? Why am I still in this same spot? I wasn't in this same spot. I just needed to experiencing those things so that they could be let go. And that's all this is stuff comes up so you can look at it and you can thank it and you can love it and you can say, all right, I'll let you go. And then you integrate that into who you are, because that's part of you. It's still part of you. It's still who you are, but you're just no longer attached to the emotions that were causing these patterns. You're big now. You can open the closet door, turn on the light, and see the fearsome thing, which is probably a little paper dragon trying to roar to stave off fear. And we make changes. As we make changes, our ego taunts us. Don't let him see you so close. He'll know you're defective and bad. It's the paper dragon again. When the ego wants life in all its little compartments, predictable, neat, secure, smile and answer back. Oh, little child, let me rock you. I understand you are afraid. It's all right. I'm big. I can protect you. And these parts of us that are roaring and telling us these things, don't get so close, you're not worthy, you're not good enough, are just afraid. And we can look at them like a scared child. And we can let them know we can protect them. And even take it a step further and say, I'm sorry, I didn't protect you then. I didn't know. I know now, and I can protect you. We will be safe. We are safe. Because the universe loves us. And we are the universe. So it is loving ourselves. We are safe. And just continue to tell that part of you. It may take, however many times. Sometimes it takes 1. Sometimes it takes 20. It depends on, how deep that root is. How many stories on top of stories that you've made so that, you know, this beautiful thing looks like this beautiful flower, but it's really just this, you know, it's almost, you know, there's probably thorns and crap on it, but it's just to keep the roots hidden. So it wants to look like something else. So it just depends on how many layers we have created as to, you know, how many times it may take to assure this part of you that it is safe. And you can look at, like I said, all those little parts as this scared little child. And who doesn't want to keep that child safe and let them know they are loved? We sometimes tell ourselves the story because life was easy before we met a lover. Our anxiety, our agitation is the fault of our new partner. Remember, love brings up anything that is hidden. While life may have been easier before, it may help to remember that the possibilities for spiritual growth speed up immensely when we become vulnerable and engaged with someone. Suddenly, the mask isn't slipping away. It's being ripped off. It's time to awaken fast. Stay in the spiritual fire. Let it cook you. Be a well-baked loaf and a lord of the table. You've been a source of pain. Now you'll be the delight. And that is Rumi. Don't take Rumi's encouragement to stay in the spiritual fire mean you should be in a painful relationship that scalds you. The spiritual fire is one of transformation, not a third-degree burn. We seek a partner to walk beside us, cherish us, and help us experience unity and oneness. If we press our edges too hard and get thrown off course, it's good to back off and rest. Find your edges, lean on them, nudge yourself. But if you become overwhelmed, take a breath. Relax. Remember, you are the creator of your universe, and you are in charge, so to speak, of that universe, and need to listen to the sounds in your universe and the heart of your universe as to, you know, when I need to take a break, when I need to, you know, go full force. Remember, it's all a story being played out, and you are the author. You're the creator. It's not supposed to be a Greek tragedy. Being able to take the heat of the spiritual fire takes practice. I've met many people who live an isolated life, reading books, watching TV, or sitting at a computer, yet fantasize about suddenly having a fine relationship. How is it to happen? Unlikely. We don't suddenly bare our heart to someone when we haven't talked openly in years. We become more natural and relaxed with people through spending time with friends, revealing ourselves, settling conflicts, taking on adventures. Our path is not so much to find a lover as to be a good lover of life and of all people. I'll read that again. Our path is not so much to find a lover, but to be a good lover of life, of all people. There isn't just one magical relationship. There is honesty we bring to all relationships. How can we tell someone that we want in bed? Okay, let me read that again. How can we tell someone what we want in bed with our clothes off when we're scared to invite a friend to a movie? It's a process. We can't play a concerto after our first music lesson. We need to practice. So if you aren't dating and you're looking to dating, practice with all of the relationships that you are already in. Practice being that lover of life and lover of all life. everything within your divine existence, everything within your reality. Begin to look at it and love it and be the best you within that, so that you can share the best you with that lover when you find them. And you know, if you have patterns from your other relationships, look at those patterns and look to recreate them into something that is more aligned with the vibration that you want to be, that the vibration that you desire to be, the vibration of your heart. Because those are going to be the catalyst to bring you to this dream relationship that you've had. So practice with all of these other ones that you are currently in now. And if you're currently in a relationship and you want to expand that, then work on that plus all your other relationships again. It's all connected. And every relationship in our lives is to bring us closer to the awareness of our divine expression. This is what relationships do. They help you see it. And so be in that spiritual fire. Be in the fire to look at yourself and not to blame the universe, the world, everybody else. Take responsibility for your creation, for everything that you are. And love it. And be proud of it. And know that it has made you the beautiful being that you are. All right. Love y'all. Have a great day.